Real courage isn't fearlessness. It's doing it anyway. Most people misunderstand courage. They think it means confidence, calm hands, a steady voice. They think brave people don't feel fear. This story proves the opposite. Long before cities and skyscrapers, in the deep hush of an African night, there was a village that could not sleep. Every evening, when the last fire dimmed and the last child was called inside, a scream rose from the darkness beyond the huts. It came from the sacred baobab tree, a massive giant older than memory, its roots gripping the earth like fingers, its branches tearing into the sky. The villagers said a spirit lived there. Every night it wailed, a long, aching sound that crawled into the chest and refused to leave. Mothers covered their children's ears. Elders stared into the fire, pretending not to hear. Even the bravest men tightened their grips on their sleeping mats. For years, no one approached the tree after sunset. They didn't confront the fear, they organized their lives around it. Paths were rerouted. Night work was abandoned. Children were warned, again and again, never to wander too far as the sun dipped low. The baobab became a boundary, not just in the land, but in the mind. It marked the edge of what was safe and beyond it, what was not. One night, storm clouds gathered over the village. Thunder rolled across the sky, and lightning split the darkness open. For a brief heartbeat, the baobab appeared on the horizon, tall, black, and menacing, carved sharply against the flashing sky. The people huddled around the central fire. Faces glowed orange and gold. Shadows danced wildly on the mud walls, restless and alive. Then the chief stood. His voice cut through the storm. "For too long," he said, "we have lived in fear of that tree, afraid of its spirit, afraid of its screams. Listen tonight." The village fell silent. "I offer a reward," the chief continued. "Whoever can spend one night beneath the baobab tree will become my successor." A ripple passed through the crowd. A chief's successor meant honor, power, respect. It was the kind of prize warriors dreamed about. 3 men stood immediately. They were everything a warrior was supposed to be: broad shoulders, scarred arms, confident smiles. Weapons gleamed on their backs. They carried themselves as if fear were something that happened to other people. They grinned at one another, certain the challenge was already won. Then, from the edge of the crowd, a small hand went up. A boy stood. He couldn't have been more than 12. His name was Kofi. He was thin. His clothes were simple. His knees trembled so visibly that even the firelight seemed to shake with him. His eyes were wide, too wide, like someone pulled from a nightmare before it had finished. The villagers burst into laughter. "Look at him," someone shouted. "The wind alone will carry him back," another joked. "Sit down before you scare yourself to death," a third said. The storm rumbled overhead. Kofi didn't sit. The chief studied him carefully. "You, Kofi?" he asked. "You want to face the spirit?" Kofi swallowed. His hands shook. His voice cracked when he spoke, but he forced the words out anyway. "I am afraid," he said, "but I will go." There was no swagger in his voice, no attempt to sound brave, just trembling honesty wrapped around a decision. The warriors were not afraid. Kofi was terrified. That was the difference. Night fell fully, pulling darkness over the village like a blanket. The first warrior left at sunset. He marched toward the baobab with long, confident strides, spear in hand, jaw clenched in defiance. When he reached the tree, he sat with his back against the bark, arms crossed, smirking as if to say the whole thing was a joke. The moon climbed higher. Then the scream came. It was not a human sound. It was too old, too deep, too full of pain. It tore through the air and down his spine. The warrior's smirk vanished. His breath caught. His heart pounded in his throat. He lasted 10 minutes. He ran back to the village, trying to hide the terror in his eyes. Only a fool would stay there, he scoffed, pretending the decision was his. Everyone knew the truth. The second warrior went next. He was careful, tactical. He brought weapons, built a small fire, arranged his tools in a neat circle. He believed preparation would protect him. When darkness fully arrived, the scream rose again, louder this time, closer. The fire flickered violently. Shadows stretched and twisted into shapes that seemed almost alive. The second warrior lasted 20 minutes. He had strength, skill, and planning. But when fear came in full, none of it mattered. Strength without courage is just decoration. The third warrior stepped forward. He barely made it halfway through his preparations. When the scream came once, sharp and sudden, he froze, dropped everything, and ran before night had fully settled. 3 warriors, 0 courage. The villagers shook their heads. Some whispered prayers. Others muttered, "Even our strongest cannot do it." Then it was Kofi's turn. He stood at the edge of the village. The baobab loomed in the distance like a dark mountain. The path between them felt impossibly long. In one hand, he carried a small mat. In the other, nothing at all. No weapon, no charm, no shield. Just empty, shaking fingers. He took one step, then another. Each step looked like it was being torn from him. Tears slid down his cheeks. His chest rose and fell too fast, as if his body was begging him to turn around. But he kept going. Behind him, the village watched in silence. Some prayed. Some turned away, unable to watch what they were sure would be a tragedy. Kofi reached the tree just as the sun vanished completely. He spread his mat with clumsy hands and sat down, pressing his back against the ancient bark. Night swallowed the world. The first scream shattered the air. Kofi jumped violently. Every instinct screamed at him to run. His legs twitched. His body leaned forward. He didn't move. He squeezed his eyes shut. He wrapped his arms around himself and whispered, "Stay, stay, stay." The scream came again, longer this time. Kofi covered his ears. He rocked back and forth. Tears poured freely now. His teeth chattered. He whispered frantic prayers to any god or ancestor who might be listening. He did not become brave. He did not stop being afraid. He stayed. The hours crawled by. The moon moved slowly across the sky, watching. Sometimes the screams faded into the wind, distant like thunder. Other times they felt like they were coming from inside his chest. Kofi spoke into the darkness. "I'm afraid," he whispered. "I am so afraid." Then, almost immediately, "But I am here." He screamed when the spirit screamed. He cried when his courage felt thin. He shook until his bones ached. But there was one thing he never did. He never stood up to run. Fear did not leave him, but it did not control him. Slowly, the night began to thin. The black sky softened into gray. The screams weakened, one by one, until finally there was silence. The sun rose. In the village, doors opened cautiously. People stepped out, expecting to find an empty mat or worse. Instead, they found Kofi. He wasn't standing tall. He wasn't smiling. He was curled on his mat, eyes swollen, body stiff, clothes damp with sweat and tears. But he was there. The village erupted. Shouts, cries, disbelief. People rushed forward, touching his shoulders, his hair, as if to confirm he was real. The 3 warriors stood at the back, silent. The chief stepped forward, crown in hand. He knelt before Kofi, so they were face to face. The warriors were not afraid, the chief said, so they had nothing to overcome. You were terrified, yet you stayed. That is courage. True courage isn't the absence of fear. It's refusing to let fear make your decisions. The words settled over the village like law. The story spread, carried from fire to fire, generation to generation. And everyone who heard it understood the truth. Confidence is not courage. Fearlessness is not bravery. Courage is fear plus action. Centuries later, the baobab tree still exists, just in different forms. It looks like the phone call you're afraid to make, the dream you keep postponing, the conversation you avoid, the step forward you know you need to take. You tell yourself you'll act when you're not afraid anymore. That's the lie. Kofi didn't wait for fear to leave. He walked while afraid. He stayed while terrified. That is courage. Name your fear. Do it scared. Stay there. Real courage isn't fearlessness. It's doing it anyway.